That feeling, you know the one. The feeling of blinking your eyes and realizing hours have simply vanished. The feeling of looking up from your phone, dazed, as if waking from a dream you can't quite remember. It's that quiet, nagging sense that your real life, the one with texture and depth and genuine connection, is happening somewhere else, just outside your field of vision, while you're just scrolling. That feeling isn't a personal failure, it's not a lack of willpower, and it is not an accident. It's a state of digital hypnosis, and you've been put there by design. Now, let's be clear, this isn't a formal medical diagnosis. It's a metaphor, but it's a terrifyingly accurate one for the trance-like state engineered to capture our attention. And in this video, we're not just going to expose the trick, we're going to show you how to break the trance. Have you ever felt it? That phantom buzz in your pocket, the compulsive twitch of your thumb toward a certain app, the endless scroll that feels so automatic you're not even sure you're in control. Have you ever had a conversation with someone you love, only to realize you didn't hear a single word they said because you were mentally refreshing a feed? This isn't just a bad habit, it's a fundamental rupture in your relationship with your own consciousness. You are losing your time, your focus, and your sense of self to a system engineered to capture it. Tech ethicist Tristan Harris, a former designer at Google, calls this a mass hypnosis. He argues that the designers of these platforms are like magicians, expertly exploiting the blind spots and vulnerabilities in our perception to influence what we do without us ever realizing it. But here's the most important part. Awareness creates the opportunity for choice. If you're unaware of the hypnosis, you are simply a puppet of the system. But the moment you see the strings, you can begin to cut them. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. So what is this state I keep calling digital hypnosis? It's not some mystical concept. It's a tangible, psychological phenomenon, a trance-like state of absorption defined by two terrifyingly effective features. The first is distorted time perception. You think you'll check Instagram for 5 minutes, and when you look up, an hour and a half has evaporated. This isn't just carelessness, it's a hallmark of a hypnotic state. Research shows that activities like endless scrolling can warp our perception of time, making entire days feel shorter and less memorable. You are losing the only truly finite resource you have, your life, and you don't even notice it's gone until it's too late. The second feature is automatic behavior. This is the zombie scroll, where your thumb just keeps moving, seemingly without any conscious command. You get sucked down a rabbit hole of content, performing actions without intent, much like actions can feel involuntary in a traditional hypnotic state. Have you ever opened your phone to check the weather, and 10 minutes later you're deep in a comment section with no memory of how you got there? That is digital hypnosis in action. This state is often coupled with a deeply unsettling feeling that psychologists call dissociation, a mental disconnect from your thoughts, feelings, or immediate surroundings. It can feel like you're watching your life from the outside, like it's a movie. It's a sense of unreality, a numbness, a feeling that things are just off. While often linked to trauma, there is growing evidence that the constant overstimulation and digital overload from our screens can trigger a similar response. Your nervous system, overwhelmed by the endless barrage of notifications, curated personas, and emotionally charged content, essentially pulls the emergency brake. It goes into a subtle freeze response to protect you. You might look calm on the outside, scrolling away, but internally, your system is shutting down. That's why you can feel so empty, so foggy, so disconnected after a long time on your phone. you've been in a state of suspended reality. You zone out, lose track of time, and may even have memory gaps about what you just did online. You're not just distracted, you're actively disconnecting from your own life. This leads to the pain points we all know too well. The gnawing anxiety when you're not connected, the low self-esteem from the toxic drip of social comparison. Studies consistently show that addictive, problematic use of social media is negatively associated with mental health, correlating with higher rates of depression and anxiety. And the most insidious part, many of us use our devices to escape these exact feelings, creating a devastating feedback loop where we scroll to numb the pain that the scrolling itself helps create. I need you to understand this with absolute clarity. This is not your fault. You haven't been hypnotized because you're weak. You've been hypnotized because thousands of the world's brightest minds have made it their job to figure out how to do it. As Tristan Harris says, they play your psychological vulnerabilities against you in the race for your attention. Your mind is like a piano, and they know exactly which keys to press. This entire attention economy is built on a few core neurological and psychological exploits. The first is the variable reward schedule. This is the same psychological hook that makes slot machines so addictive, and it's built into the core of every social media feed. When you pull down to refresh, you don't know what you're going to get. It might be nothing. It might be a picture from a friend. Or it might be that one viral video or juicy piece of gossip that gives you a tiny hit of dopamine. That unpredictability, that maybe this time feeling, is what keeps you pulling the lever again and again. Every notification, every like, is a little pellet of social approval delivered on an unpredictable schedule, keeping your brain hooked. This process directly hijacks your brain's neurobiology. Brain imaging studies show these addictive patterns are associated with changes in key areas like the anterior cingulate cortex, ACC, and the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, DLPFC, your brain's command center for attention, self-control, and emotional regulation. The constant stimulation can essentially short-circuit these functions, making it harder to focus and easier to give in to impulse. Interestingly, some research even suggests a link between the neurotransmitter GABA in the ACC and a person's general hypnotizability, hinting at a biological reason why some of us are more susceptible to this digital trance than others. Then there's the algorithm. These aren't neutral tools. They have one goal: to maximize your screen time. They learn your insecurities, your desires, your triggers, and they feed you a perfectly curated stream of content designed to keep you locked in. They shape your decisions and emotions, often without your conscious awareness. This creates what's called an online disinhibition effect, where we start to lose our normal social inhibitions and act in ways we never would in the real world. The line blurs between our real-life identity and our curated online persona. Reality starts to feel less real, and the digital world, with its instant gratification, feels more compelling. Our brains are being systematically rewired to prefer the digital over the real. Studies have shown that the mere presence of your smartphone, even when it's off, reduces your available cognitive capacity because a part of your brain is actively working not to pick it up. We are in a constant low-grade battle for our own attention, and we're losing. Alright, this is where it gets practical. This isn't about shaming you or telling you to throw your phone in a river. This is about taking back control. It's about becoming the architect of your own attention. We're going to break this down into 3 concrete steps. You cannot change what you do not acknowledge. The first step to breaking a trance is to become aware that you're in it. For 1 week, I want you to become a scientist of your own habits. Here's how. Check your phone's built-in screen time tracker. Look at the numbers, don't judge, just observe. Note the hours, the apps, and your number of pickups. Some studies have found the average user interacts with their phone thousands of times a day, but we're going deeper. Get a small notebook and create a digital usage log. Every time you pick up your phone for a non-essential task, quickly jot down 3 things. Firstly, the trigger. What just happened? A notification? A wave of boredom or anxiety? A tough task you wanted to avoid? Be specific. Then the action. What did you actually do? Scroll Instagram? Check email? Read news headlines? And lastly, the feeling. How did you feel right after you put the phone down? Energized? Numb? More anxious? Drained? Regretful? This simple act of observation is incredibly powerful. It forces you to shift from unconscious automatic behavior to conscious awareness. It interrupts the hypnotic loop. You're no longer the zombie in the trance. You are the observer watching it. After a week, you'll have a map of your personal triggers and patterns. This awareness is the foundation. Here's a secret. Willpower is a finite resource. If you rely on sheer force of will to resist the perfectly engineered temptations on your phone, you will eventually fail. The key isn't to fight harder, but to fight smarter by changing your environment to make your phone less addictive. First, bleed the color from your screen. Go into your phone's accessibility settings and turn on grayscale mode. Those bright, shiny app icons are designed to trigger a dopamine response. A grayscale screen is boring. It makes your phone feel more like a tool and less like a slot machine. While not a magic cure, making the screen less stimulating can help reduce the compulsive urge to engage. Second, silence the casino. Turn off almost all your notifications. Every ping is a pull on the slot machine lever. Be ruthless. Do you really need to know the instant someone likes your photo? Turn them all off, except for maybe calls or messages from your absolute essentials. This puts you back in control of when you engage. Third, curate your mental diet. Stop consuming junk food. Unfollow every account that makes you feel anxious or envious. Unsubscribe from newsletters you never read. Leave group chats that drain your energy. Be a ruthless curator of your digital space and fill it only with things that genuinely uplift or educate you. And finally, create physical friction. The easier your phone is to access, the more you'll use it. Move your most addictive apps off the home screen and into a folder on the last page. Don't charge your phone by your bed. This is a game changer. Buy a cheap alarm clock and charge your phone in another room. This prevents late night scrolling and early morning trance sessions, which are known to disrupt sleep quality. When you walk in the door, create a designated phone drop spot, like a drawer or a box. Create phone-free zones and times in your house. That physical distance creates powerful mental distance. If this is resonating with you, if you feel ready to take back your attention, hit that subscribe button. We are all on this journey together, and I'll be sharing more strategies to help you reclaim your focus and your life. Steps 1 and 2 are about reducing the pull of the digital. Step 3 is about increasing the pull of the real. You can't just create a void, you have to fill it with something meaningful. This is about actively reconnecting with reality, with your body, and with your own mind. First, learn to ground yourself. When you feel that pull to your phone, or you sense that dissociative fogginess creeping in, use a grounding technique. The 5-4-3-2-1 method is fantastic for this. Pause and intentionally name 5 things you can see. 4 things you can physically feel. Your feet on the floor, the texture of your shirt. 3 things you can hear. 2 things you can smell. 1 thing you can taste. This simple exercise pulls your awareness out of the abstract digital space and anchors it firmly in your present physical reality. It breaks the trance. Second, actively seek face-to-face connection. Virtual interactions do not satisfy our deep-seated need for genuine human connection. Make a conscious effort to have real conversations with people without a phone in sight. This helps restore your sense of reality and agency. Third, replace scrolling with a soul-filling habit. You've audited your time. You've seen where the hours are going. Now, reclaim some of it. Start small. Take just 15 minutes you would have spent scrolling and dedicate it to something real. Read a physical book. Go for a walk without headphones. Journal. Stretch. Research shows that incorporating real-world activities, especially exercise, is incredibly effective at reducing phone dependency by tackling the boredom and anxiety that often trigger compulsive use. Finally, explore tools that give you back control of your mind. This might sound ironic, but one of the best ways to fight unwanted digital hypnosis is with intentional, self-directed focus. Using reputable, evidence-based mindfulness or guided hypnosis apps can teach you to enter a state of focused relaxation on your own terms. This practice is empowering. It shows you that you can change the way you think and feel, reminding you that you are in control. It's about using these tools to strengthen your mind against manipulation, not letting your mind be manipulated by the tools. Let's be clear. The goal here isn't to become a digital hermit. These tools are a powerful part of modern life. The goal is to move from being a mindless consumer to a conscious user. The goal is to put the tool back in the toolbox to be used when you decide for your purposes. We've covered a lot. We've defined digital hypnosis as a state of trance marked by time distortion and automatic behavior. We've seen how it's engineered by design, using our own psychology against us. And we've walked through a 3-step plan to break free. Auditing your use to build awareness, shifting your environment to reduce temptation, and reconnecting with the real world to fill the void. Breaking this cycle is not about deprivation. It's about abundance. It's about reclaiming thousands of hours of your one precious life. It's about deeper conversations, being present with family, having the mental space to pursue your goals, and experiencing the quiet joy of a mind that is calm and focused. Research shows that having a clearer sense of meaning and purpose in life directly fosters greater self-control and lessens addictive tendencies, including with our phones. When you know why you want your attention back, it becomes infinitely easier to reclaim it. This is a journey. There will be days you fall back into the trance. That's okay. The goal is not perfection, it's awareness. Every time you notice you're in the trance and gently pull yourself out, you are strengthening a muscle. You are rewriting the code. You are waking up. The world beyond the screen is waiting for you. It's more vibrant, more meaningful, and more real than anything in a feed. It's time to look up and live in it.